We just had our third client do 100K a month. And here's the truth nobody wants to say. Most of your business problems aren't strategy problems. They're self-sabotage in disguise. You've got a funnel, you've got a solid offer, maybe even a small team, but you're waking up anxious, questioning everything, changing plans every week, wondering why your income keeps hitting a ceiling. That ceiling, it's not a revenue cap. It's a misalignment tax. And the real reason it keeps happening is because you've built a business that's slightly out of sync with your standards, your values, and even your own nervous system. And until you fix that alignment, you'll keep procrastinating, second guessing, losing energy, and calling it a productivity issue when really it's personal. And that's what we're going to be unpacking today. So if you don't know who I am, my name's Luke, and I help online entrepreneurs just like you, usually higher up on the ADHD spectrum, stop getting in their own way and stop self-sabotage so that they can focus, grow, and scale the business without burning out, overthinking, or self-destructing in the process. So figure your business is like a set of arteries, right? So you've got, your arm right now, and you've got all these veins, all these arteries, all these capillaries going up your body, right? And the challenge here is when you've got misalignment, it's a little bit like having a blood clot. You are literally stopping the flow of blood from going to where it needs to. That being your dreams, that being your potential, and that being having the cash flow that you want. I was talking to a girl the other day who was looking to build a breathwork retreat business with her best friend. And despite her best efforts, I met her back in November, and she's a very switched on person, very action taker, like gets things moving, gets shit done, gets moving. But she wanted to build a business partnership with her best friend. And the challenge was with that was her best friend was not really showing up how she was showing up. And she had the skills, she had the vision, she was putting in the work, she had the desire, the urgency. She was like, hey, I want to make this happen. Like, not only do I get to let go of my corporate job, but I get to do this. I've already projected that I'm going to make at least $8,000 to $10,000 a month pretty rapidly. But when we met again in late April, she still was stuck in the same spot. She was still sabotaging her growth because of her misalignment with her business partner. And we worked out like the actual numbers of this. This misalignment was costing her anywhere from $96,000 to $120,000 a year in lost opportunity because things hadn't moved forward. There's money that could have been fueling her purpose, helping more clients, creating the lifestyle freedom that she dreamed of. And so many of you are like this, where you have this big vision and you're essentially like a rocket ship and you want to go and you've got the fire going, you've got the ship set up per se, but you've got all these misalignments in your life that are holding you back from taking off. You've got all these like strings attached that are not serving you, that are holding you back from growing. And most entrepreneurs think that their growth problems are about strategy or marketing. They think, if I just had the right funnel, if I just had more leads, or if I just had more cash, everything would fall into place. But I'm going to show you why it's actually about alignment with yourself first, but then with everyone around you. So by the end of this video, you're going to understand how perfect alignment in your business without sacrificing your profits or burning through team members who never seem to get it right are what you need to do. And I don't just teach this stuff, I've lived it. I've had 2 failed business partnerships that taught me everything about what works and what doesn't. Don't know what Zoom's going on with right now. Apparently we're doing balloons. But I had my first business partnership. We took a brand from 5K a month to 25K a month in about 5 weeks. And this misalignment came because we had different values. We had different visions. We also didn't talk about what would happen when the cash flow came in. So unfortunately, my business partner ended up spending like 8K of the money that had come in it was like 8 to 10K because she went on a bit of a money mindset bender in Miami. And this meant that we couldn't then scale the ads. We couldn't then implement more team members. And it meant that there was a huge friction in between the two of us where we were both building different things. I was like, hey, I've got to get this going. I was building the back end, the sales systems. And then, it came crashing down as on the front end, we were just spending so much. And there was a lot of miscommunication, a lot of like energetic friction. And I felt like a lot of the time, like I was doing everything myself whilst still giving away a good 75% plus of profits. But the turning point came when I finally understood that the problem wasn't about finding the perfect partner. It was about creating alignment from the inside out. Once I got that dialed in, I was able to help clients like Mitch go from 44K a month to 115K a month in just 30 days. And we literally just put his testimonial up the other day. And what I learned through the pain is that business partnerships fail not because of strategy, but because of misaligned values and standards. And that's the same with clients. It's the same with team members. And there's a much better way to get what you're really looking for. One of the most important things in your business is going to be operating things from a decision quadrant. And you need to be looking at things and saying, do I have the right problem that I'm fixing right now with the right solution? And this can be really challenging when you're higher up on the ADHD spectrum. You've got a lot of things going on. You've got a lot of moving pieces. And what often happens is we get the wrong problem with the right solution, right? You might be trying to fix your marketing right now, or you might be trying to fix your strategy, or you might be trying to handle everything and build systems when actually you have a significant alignment problem. Like you might have a great funnel, you might have a good lead source, but it's not going to solve the real problem. Or you might be in a space where you have the right problem, but you have the wrong solution. So you've correctly identified the right thing, but you're actually struggling with the execution. You might incorrectly believe that a business partner is your best answer, or you might believe that another business coach is the right help. Like I literally was speaking to a girl the other day. She'd invested into like 4 different people who all teach the same fucking thing. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, no. And don't get me wrong, like there is one of those people she invested in that was better than the others. But she literally said to me, she's like, I'm so tired of investing into people and them all saying like, I'm going to give you like 1-to-1 and they don't. And I'm like, I'm tired of listening to you invest into the same people who do the same thing, but don't give you 1-to-1 and still don't deliver on their promises. Like, what are we doing here? Like, when are you actually going to change? When are you going to make different decisions? And another thing that I see a lot is like a lot of people will say, oh yeah, you know, like I really do need to hire somebody like a team member, or I do really need to hire a coach. And I've been here myself in the past and then not doing anything. Like I remember when I knew that I needed help with this is my first ever coach I got, was a fitness coach. And I saw him like 8 months earlier and I was like, I need to hire this guy. I had the cash flow to be able to do it. Like it would have been a stretch, but like I had some cash flow. I could have asked him for a payment plan, or I could have like asked him for like a different way that I could have get started, like even just got his support in some kind of way. But instead I waited 8 months later until I had multiple injuries. I destroyed my body. And I just was in a complete mess. I was sleeping like 5 hours a night. That also caused a breakup. Like people, like you look at your small problem right now that you're solving with the wrong solution, which might also be procrastination. Have you considered like the actual repercussions of these things happening? Because I had a gym issue that then led to having a relationship breakdown. Have you considered the repercussions of if you don't fix your problem right now, or if you don't find the right solution? And then we've got the last boat here where you've just got wrong problem, wrong solution, and you're just wasting your time. And this might be like hiring random team members, hoping they'll magically create structure in your business, or or like waiting until like your business partner gets themselves together, or waiting until like your team members come to you with problems rather than you actually like seeking out and being the leader that you know you need to be. Now, if this is making you think, I would consider hitting like and subscribe now, because this is exactly the stuff that nobody else is talking about. So let's talk about this. Let's go a layer deeper. So let's talk about what really matters, which is going to be alignment. Let's say you've got you in the middle, and then outside of you, you've got all your influences, right? So outside of you, in this kind of outer circle per se, you've got your influences. So this is your P, this is mentors, this might be business partners. And whether it's team members, a business coach, a business partner, a life coach, whatever that is, alignment is the biggest key to all of this. And it goes far beyond just sharing a vision. Let me break down what alignment really means. So let me talk about this. Like, it's kind of like having 2 puzzle pieces together, right? There needs to be some alignment of fit. There needs to be this kind of lock and key. So when I work with clients like Mitch that just went from 44K a month to 115, Steph, who went from 0 to 60K, or Justin, who went from 25K a month to 101K a month. The first thing that we're looking at when they're looking to bring people into their business, when they're looking to hire the next person, is what is their alignments of values? Like, what's the cultural fit? Like, do they value freedom? Do they value hard work? Is it financial security? Is it risk taking? Once you're clear on what your values are, then you can find them in people that you genuinely care about. Like for me, I value people that are meticulous about getting results with their clients. Like if I'm going to work with somebody, you better give a fuck about your people. Otherwise, I couldn't care less. I talked to an agency owner a while back and all he cared about was the money. Like he really didn't care about his results whatsoever. And that just doesn't resonate with me because that's too much of the coaching agency space. In essence, it's like, oh, I made 5 million in 3 months. And it's like, okay, cool. So why are all your results for your clients shit? You're just good at client acquisition. You're not good at delivery. That does nothing for me. And like, I get it. Like I get the marketing world can be like that. But I think a good tester that I've always found really works well whenever I'm bringing in new team members, whenever I'm finding myself in alignment with people is like, could I spend 3 hours stuck in an airport with this person? The next thing that I would say is going to be most important. The first thing generally is going to be shared values. And then the second thing that I would say is going to be about matching standards. And this is a real game changer for me because I realized that in a lot of my failed business partnerships, we had completely different standards for what good work looked like, for how we communicated and for how we showed up every day. When you have mismatched standards with the people around you, you'll always feel frustrated. You're either going to be pushing them to do more or they're going to be pushing you to slow down. Like, can you imagine how frustrating that is when you want to do something big, you want to expand and you want to go? And then you've got people latched onto you saying like, oh, you need balance, or, oh, why are you working so hard? Or, oh, you don't need to do that. Like, no, absolutely not. And if you want freedom in your life, that's okay as well. But what I'm saying is like, you need to have somebody that's going to match you to that. You need to be matching with people that also have the freedom and life that you want. Third, what I would say is you're going to need complementary energies. So look at it like this. The right people in your business don't need to be identical to you. In fact, they shouldn't be, and their energy should complement you. So thinking about Steph's situation that we threw up a testimonial for the other day, she and her business partner have different skill sets. So she has herself, who's good at the actual like website design building. And then we have the partner that's great at the marketing and the sales. And she also was a former director of marketing, right? So this complements very well because when we're looking at your business and we're looking at it like, hey, we need a delivery vehicle, we need a sales process, we need a marketing process, there needs to be some complementary skills that go across the board here. Now, a lot of entrepreneurs, I would say, think they either have two options. Either they do everything themselves or they find a business partner who takes half the company. And what I want you to realize here is there is actually a third option that cuts through the middle. You can create alignment with the right support system, like whether that's a coach to help you get out of your own way, whether that's key team members, whether that's a mastermind of peers without giving away equity in your business. And this approach gives you accountability and complementary skills you need while keeping you in control of your vision and your profits. Now, what should you look for in a support system? You want to look for people who actually track results and love metrics. Like we are meticulous about metrics. So we track task completion rate with our clients, track ad spend, we track things across the sales team. There should not be stuff that's up in the air. I would be looking for, in your case, communicating directly, even where it's uncomfortable. You need somebody that's going to cut through the noise and have very direct conversations with you. Like I literally sent a client the other day and he hadn't been showing up for the group calls in the week and he started going a little bit ghost in the messages. And I just said to him like, hey bro, can I keep it real with you? I ended up saying part of this message is I want to be like a ghost on the sideline. You hop on the calls and then we do loads of one-to-one calls and then you're just there because you feel like you have to be. So I'm checking in not to push you, but to ask, are you ready to actually lead yourself going forwards now? You ready for that? Or do you want to keep sitting in the waiting room, hoping to see what happens? And he was like, yeah, I appreciate the message, really value the honesty. If you ever see common issues that might be blindsided, I appreciate that a lot. This week's got I lost an old client on their culture to kind of some. So then off the back. You should be working with somebody that keeps their word consistently. You should be working with somebody that inspires you to level up, not makes you comfortable. Like my team members, like with their vision, their goals, when we hop on one-to-ones, like I'm like, okay, well, I better raise my standards because you're a great team member and I want to keep you on board. Like facts. Next is they should have operational experience, not just theory. Like if you're choosing a work coach, significant result you're looking to achieve, not just somebody that talks about what they did without actually having significant results. Like that's a mark of somebody who's not experienced enough to get you the results. And here's something critical. People won't lower their standards to make you better. They'll help you raise your standards to achieve what you're truly capable. When I had my first successful mentor, he didn't sugarcoat things. Actually somewhat disliked him, but he held me to higher standard than I held myself. And that changed everything for me. And the reality is in today's business world, there's a recession of trust. Many people talk a good game, but many people build their own freedom at your expense. And that's why finding the right alignment partners, whether that's team members, coaches, mentors, or actual business partners, is way more valuable than any strategy or tactic. So there's 5 pillar pillars because this is going to that you take notes on each one, okay? So the 5 perfect ways. So what I've outlined is there's five ways of alignment. The first one here is clarity of vision. That's the first thing. So you as the leader actually need to have the clarity on the vision. So if you don't even have clarity on the vision, there's no way that your potential clients, potential team members, potential business partners are going to have an alignment with you. So you need to actually be aligned with yourself. And this is what we did with Mitch. Like when he first came in, the first thing that we do with all of our students is we get clear on the vision. It's so clear to know what is the dream space that you're going to be in. As in, who are you here? What do you have? What are you being? What are you doing? What are your thoughts, beliefs, the people around you? What's your environment like? What are the material things? What are you inspired by? You need to have so much clarity on this. Otherwise, you're going to get caught up in the same patterns. You're not going to know that there's a difference. You're just going to keep doing the same things that you've always been doing. The next thing that you need to have when looking for somebody is you need to make sure that you have consistent accountability. Now, this can look like different things for different people, but how this looks like for us is we track something called task completion rate, or TCR. And whenever we set goals and milestones for clients, so let's say, hey, we decided that we need to do these 3 things this week, and then there's an input to each of those. How many of these things did we knock out? Because otherwise, what accountability can look like is you tell somebody that you're going to do something, you follow through for a few days, then you give up after a week, 2 weeks, or like there wasn't actually a set deadline for it. And then you feel bad about yourself. You lose self-trust with yourself because you subconsciously make it about you, not about the task. Whereas if you make it about the task, you then can understand why was something not done. And then you can game plan and solve for it. So when we had Joanna, who went from 50K a month, so like sub 50K a month, to 83K a month, now she's going for 100. In her first week, she was at a really low task completion rate. It was somewhere between the 13 to 16% task completion rate. But then the reason why we got it to 80% over the next 3 weeks was not because we were necessarily doing less, but it was because we were able to see the bottlenecks that were going on and then saying, well, why wasn't this being done? Oh, this was actually a low action item and I needed to give it to somebody else. Oh, this was actually something that somebody else was meant to be doing. It shouldn't be like vague accountability where it's like, oh, how's this going? It should be specific, measurable accountability. Did you complete these pretty specific needle movers? If not, why not? When you have the right accountability structure in place, your execution speed literally multiplies overnight. And I don't know if you know this, but the American Society of Training and Development showed that you are 95% more likely to be successful when you have effective accountability in place. Alicia, we literally just had a testimonial go up. And because we have effective accountability in place, she's sold 3 packages. Like her goal coming in was like 5K a month. And the first month she's done 8,900 because we have effective accountability in place. And like, have you considered like how much impact and how much change and how much freedom you could have if you just had somebody in your corner holding you accountable? And not just low-level accountability, like a friend or like your partner or whatever. Like, have you considered what the difference is when you actually get somebody who's experienced in this? Have you considered what happens when you don't do this? What's the cost to you if nothing changes? And I always speak to people and they're like, oh yeah, like I already have mentors. I already have somebody. I already invested in someone. I'm like, okay. And do you have a one-to-one high level of accountability? Are they checking in with you every day? Because if they're not, you don't have consistent accountability. So pillar 3, and that's why within the high-performing brain funnel, we've got this aspect where when we come through this whole process, we have results, strong self-trust, and we have team leadership, which is what we teach on the back end. Like once we have people's 90-day anti-self-sabotage plan, we have their identity and alignment in, which is that first stage that we actually work on. We just loop results. Okay, so number 3, the person who's in alignment with you should have direct communication. And this is where the person who was running the retreat business stuff came in, was really interesting. And I'm going to ask you some questions, and these are the same questions that I asked her. And I think a lot of people think direct communication as being like, you need somebody who's going to call you out and be like, you're not doing this, or you're not doing this. But actually, you just need somebody who's going to ask you the right questions at the right time. So this is very intentional, but I need you to lock in with this. The questions are, what is the cost to you if things don't change in your business? What would happen 12 months from now if you stay on the current path? And what would your future self advise you to do right here, right now? And what this made the person realize who I was speaking to was that she'd been avoiding these direct questions to herself because she was prioritizing her friendship over her business. That wasn't serving either of them either. And you might be in a situation right now where you're prioritizing friendships, relationships, people over the needs of the business. And direct communication isn't cruel. It's clarifying. It's actually the kindest thing that you can do because it prevents resentment from building up over time. So I want you to ask, who are you still tolerating? Because it's easier than setting a boundary. The 4th thing that you want to be looking for is systems over willpower. Anybody can make a promise, say that they're going to do all the things that they're going to do in the world, but if they don't have systems, if they don't have ways that things are connected, checklists, etc., if you don't have systems, it's going to be really hard to take things out of your mind and give that to somebody else. It's going to be like pushing a boulder uphill versus somebody pushing it down the hill. Either one is going to be a constant, you've got to pull them along, and another one is going to be actually like, oh, here's the thing. Now let's let them roll with it. I get it. Systems aren't sexy, but they're what separate consistently growing businesses from those that plateau. Whether it's your morning routine, your client onboarding, or your team communication, systematic alignment beats random inspiration every single time. That's why we literally have systems in our client delivery mechanisms themselves. Because I know when people just go through these, they're like, oh, I go do this, and then I go do this, and then I go do this. Okay, cool. Makes sense. Whereas if I'm like, hey, go do this, then go do this, and then go do this, and I don't put it into a checklist, I don't put it into a format that people can read, it's going to be so difficult for them to do things. And like, I'll show you how simple this is. I literally have a system for my protein shake because whenever I go to new places and whenever I'm like, we have a personal assistant for our household at the moment. And it's really simple. I said to her, like, hey, would you be able to make my protein shake? And the question is always like, oh, I don't know how to. And it's like, well, lucky for you, I have a checklist. And then they'll go and make it. And then after the first time they make it, then I'll be like, oh, this was really tasty, really good. Can you make it again? And if I was like, if it's too watery or too thick, then I'll say, hey, can you adjust this a little bit? It goes that simple. But if you don't have the system to follow, then there's so much like back and forth that has to go down. And then if she was ill or she went away or whatever, then I've got to redo that process. What an absolute nightmare. No, absolutely not. But so many people do it to themselves. But at the same time, so many people get caught up in building just systems and then they get completely lost. So in order for you to have alignment, you're going to need to create some systems, or you're going to need to align with somebody that already has systems. And the last pillar here, the fastest way to create misalignment is to make decisions based on just short-term emotions rather than long-term values. One of the things she said that she decides when she's deciding to work with a new client is not just, do I feel like doing the work, but it's like, does this align with the impact I want to create in the world? When you have values-based decision, this creates natural alignment because you attract the right people and repel the wrong ones. Your team, your clients, your partners, your mentors all make sense when you're making decisions from a clear value system versus chasing quick wins. So how do you find the right people? I would look at it like this. I would be on one side, I would be listing out what are all my needs right now. And you might even know what to do. You might be somebody who knows exactly what they need to do, but you're just not doing it. Like if you need accountability and their strengths are accountability, then maybe you should be smashing through that. Like if you're somebody who is like, oh, I already know what I need to do, I'm just not doing. Or, oh, I tell all my people this, or I tell all my clients this, I just haven't been doing it myself. You need accountability because you don't actually know the thing. If you're like struggling with focusing, then maybe you need somebody who's good at focusing. You struggle with systems, then maybe you need somebody who's good at building systems or can teach you how to build systems that work for your brain and not against it. But really, what's key here is they should be matching your standards or be above them. You shouldn't be working with anybody that has like lower standards than you. Like whether it's a team, whether that's clients, whether that's business partners, mentors, etc. No, absolutely not. Just know the right people in your life should match your standards, not lower them. And the right people in your life will actually challenge you to level up, not make excuses for you. The second thing that you want to be looking for is operational experience, not just theory. Anyone can read a book and regurgitate business principles. Any coach can go to a fucking coaching certification that you spend fucking $10 online with and be like, oh, now I'm a certified coach. Like, no, that's bullshit. Well, I'm not saying the course itself is bullshit, but what I'm saying is like, is there actually operational experience? Like, have they actually built businesses? Like I started as a fitness and mindset coach, built my own business, then started with confidence and mindset, built that. Then business partnered with another girl, took her from 5K to 25K in 5 weeks by building out her client acquisition process. Then from there, attracted my second business partner, my ex-girlfriend, came in as an appointment setter, as a closer, was the top setter, was the closer, then stepped into building out the sales team and then growth partnering to a point where we were stepping me into being CEO of a tech and coaching company with agency parts as well. So the proof's in the pudding. You want to be finding people who've actually built and run successful operations with other people. Third, they should care more about your results than their own convenience. This is really, really rare. But what I find is this separates true alignment from people just looking for a paycheck. Fourth, they consistently keep their word. Like I said earlier, this seems basic, but it's astonishing how many business relationships break down because of simple reliability issues. Because look at this, we're living in what we call a trust recession in business. Many people claim that they can help you, but few actually deliver. Many people just want to build their own freedom at your expense. That's why I recommend that you vet anybody that you work with and you're looking at the specific results that they've created. Maybe you've even talked to people that they've worked with before. Maybe notice how they communicate in challenging moments. Pay attention to how they handle their own business. Are they open and vulnerable about their story, about their journey? The right alignment partner is going to transform your business, whether that's a client, a team member, a business partner, a business mentor, but the wrong one is going to waste your time, energy, and money. I know, because I put a video on my social media about being scammed 25K and how I got that back and how to be somebody that doesn't happen to, but also just talked about my shit. That's why for me, I raise my prices with every 2 people right now. I know my worth and I know that with more cash flow, I can actually help and give more. Like I literally supported my brother with some stuff the other day. I'm sure there are people in your family you want to give money to and help out with as well. You can only do that by being in alignment. I have a very hands-on one-to-one experience. I know I only have limited time for that. So that's why I raise my prices every 2 people. And you're a high-touch service where you're really deep in the trenches with people, you really help people out, you should be raising that price. You don't need to necessarily be somebody who's doing a ton of volume and working with tons and tons of people. Like you can Of course you can, but you might be somebody who just wants to charge more and have higher level clients. Like I was listening to a marketer the other day. He was like, yeah, I made 202K from one client last month. And I was like, dang, that's a vibe. So let's make this practical. Here's how you can start creating alignment in your business immediately. How I would start this is start with a daily alignment practice. Like start with that clarity of vision, like I said. So maybe you have a morning clarity ritual to set your intentions. Maybe like me, you have a vision board, right? Then maybe you're identifying the 3 needle movers that will actually grow your business. Maybe then you have an evening review for honest accountability where you check in with somebody regularly. That might look like mine, where my evening check-in is at the front of my journal. It looks like this. I've written it at the front of the journal, by the way, because I'm higher up on the ADHD spectrum. So it doesn't matter how much I do. I just want a checklist and I just want to follow it. I have systems. I know the systems work. We have gratitude, write out 3 gratitude. We have what are 3 lessons? We have write 3 wins. Then we have 2 lessons. So an example of some lessons from yesterday was rice, steak, and eggs take 16 minutes to eat and to cook. So if I want to give that to my ice cleaner, then I know that it takes probably about 10 minutes to cook. And then that means that I can help her optimize her time and help her do more. And then I know how long it takes. So I know how long to actually give myself for my lunch break. So there's an example of a lesson that I've learned. I've also said certain new team members get overwhelmed, give them a better checklist and hop on one-to-ones until it's fixed. So yeah, there's some lessons. Then we've got talk to God. So talk to the big man. And then I'm going to put on my visualization and I'm going to put on my sleep hypnosis. I'm going to go to bed. So that's what I do. You can help yourself with that if you want. And then you want to be also expanding it to your team. Do you have right now daily check-ins or weekly clarity meetings where everyone understands the priorities? Do you have clear KPIs that measure what matters and not just activity? And do you have regular celebration of aligned actions, not just results? So that's why one of the parts that we have within the anti-sabotage mechanism is actually reviewing KPIs with our clients. Because if they're not reviewing KPIs, at least even for themselves, you're just making decisions based on emotion. There's no data to back up what you're doing. So it's super key to have this down. Otherwise, how are you going to decide on what you're doing for the week? How are you going to decide what your inputs are to get those outcomes? How are you going to decide and prioritize what you actually need to be doing? And how are you going to effectively delegate and automate if you're not doing that? Doesn't make sense. Like you can do all this identity work at the bottom, but none of it makes sense if you don't have the right KPIs and stuff in work. Or at least if you go and do the KPI stuff, what we see is you're going to quantum leap in your business, but then you're going to come crashing down anytime you have fear, self-doubt, etc. So you need to have, yes, some identity work and alignment and deep inner work, which is what we do, but you need to have systems to go along the way. That way, when you go up, you don't come crashing back down. You go up, you come and you just go up continuously. That's what it looks like to have systems across the board. The key here for you guys, though, is going to be consistency. Alignment isn't just a one-time exercise. It's a daily practice. Once you stop trying to find the perfect partner and start creating perfect alignment within yourself and within who you're choosing to work with, everything is going to change. That's when my business grew. It's when my stress dropped. And I actually started enjoying the journey again. So we covered a lot of ground today. So from understanding the true cost of misalignment to the 5 pillars. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, then make sure to go ahead and do that. And if this resonated with you, drop a comment below and we'll see you in the next one.